Ladies and gentlemen, gather round for a tale that'll make your spurs jingle and your whiskey bottles rattle. We're about to dive into the life of the most infamous outlaw the Wild West ever spat out. Billy the Kid. Don't you go thinking this is some dime store novel full of heroics and gunslinging glory. No, siree. This here's the real deal. Served up with a side of irony so thick you could choke a horse on it. Picture this. A scrawny little fella with a baby face and a trigger finger itchier than poison ivy. That's our Billy. Born Henry McCarty, though he'd go through more names than a snake has scales. Poor kid never stood a chance at a normal life. What with being orphaned faster than you can say rootin' tootin'. Bounced from town to town like a tumbleweed in a tornado, our Henry grew up quicker than a jackrabbit on a hot griddle. Now, you might be thinking this is where the story turns all dark and gritty. But hold your horses. Young Henry, bless his heart, had a peculiar quirk that'd make Miss Manners proud. He was polite as pie, even while he was robbing you blind. Pardon me, ma'am, but I do believe that's my horse you're sitting on. Would you kindly dismount? Who says crime doesn't pay in good manners? As Angie grew, so did his reputation. Faster than you can say wanted poster, he became Billy the Kid. Why the Kid, you ask? Well, it sure wasn't for his maturity. This boy could escape a jail cell faster than a greased pig at a county fair. New Mexico became his playground, and boy did he know how to swing. Now, here's where our tale takes a turn. More twisted than a rattlesnake in a pretzel factory. The newspapers, bless their ink-stained hearts, couldn't get enough of our Billy. They painted him larger than life, a regular Robin Hood in cowboy boots. Half the stories were truer than a drunk's promise, but that didn't stop folks from eating them up like hotcakes. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Our Billy wasn't all bad. He had a charm that could sweet-talk a cactus into giving up its needles. Some folks even liked him, if you can believe it. He was like that one cousin at the family reunion. Sure, he might steal your wallet, but he'd help you look for it after. All good things must come to an end, though, and Billy's story is no exception. Quote faster than you can say hands up. Our young outlaw met his maker at the ripe old age of 21. Shot dead by Sheriff Pat Garrett, who probably felt like he'd just swatted the most annoying fly in the West. But here's the kicker, folks. Billy the Kid became more famous dead than he ever was alive. Ain't that just the way? He went from small-time crook to legendary outlaw, faster than you can draw a six-shooter. Books, movies, songs. Seems like everyone wanted a piece of the kid once he couldn't object. So there you have it. The life and times of Billy the Kid, served up with more irony than a blacksmith's shop. He lived fast, died young, and left a good-looking corpse. Well, as good-looking as you can be with lead poisoning. In the end, Billy may have been gone at 21, but in the Old West, shadows live forever. And his, well, it's long enough to reach from New Mexico all the way to Hollywood. Now, don't go getting any ideas about following in Billy's footsteps. Remember, kids, crime doesn't pay unless you're aiming to be a legend, in which case it pays in posthumous fame. But trust me, that's about as useful as spurs on a buffalo. As we ride off into the sunset of this tale, let's take a moment to appreciate the irony of it all. A boy who couldn't stay out of trouble became the poster child for the Wild West. A criminal who's more celebrated than most law-abiding citizens, and a life so short it barely had time to begin before it became legend. Billy the Kid, Henry McCarty, or whatever name you prefer. He was a paradox wrapped in an enigma, tied up with a bandana and shot through with bullet holes. He was the best and worst of the Old West, all rolled into one pint-sized package of trouble. So next time you're feeling like the world's against you, just remember old Billy. He turned a life of crime into eternal fame, proving that sometimes the biggest legends come in the smallest packages. And if that doesn't work, well, there's always the option of becoming an outlaw. Just kidding, folks. Put those guns away. In the end, what can we learn from Billy the Kid? Maybe it's that life is short, so you might as well make it interesting. Or perhaps it's that if you can't be good at being bad. Or maybe, just maybe, it's that history has a sense of humor darker than a moonless prairie night. Whatever the lesson, one thing is for sure. Billy the Kid's story is a reminder that in the Wild West, and in life, Things are rarely black and white. They're more like a sepia-tone photograph, full of shades of gray, a little faded around the edges, but captivating nonetheless. So tip your hat to Billy the Kid, folks. He may have been a no-good outlaw, but he sure knew how to leave a mark. And in a world where most of us will be forgotten faster than yesterday's wanted poster, that's something to tip your hat to. Just make sure you keep your hand on your wallet while you do it. And there you have it, partners. The tale of Billy the Kid, served up with more salt than a desert watering hole and more pepper than a sneeze in a dust storm. It's a story that'll stick to your ribs like a good bowl of chili, and leave you wondering if the Old West was really as wild as they say, or if maybe, just maybe, we all need a little outlaw in our lives. So the next time you're feeling like life's got you cornered, channel your inner Billy. Not the stealing and shooting part, mind you, but the part that says, I may be down, but I'm not out. Because in the end, that's what made Billy more than just another outlaw. It made him a legend. And legends, my friends, never die. They just ride off into the sunset, leaving us all to wonder what might have been if things had gone a little differently. So here's to Billy the Kid. May his legend live on, and may we all find a little of that outlaw spirit in ourselves. Just, without the crime spree. We've got enough trouble as it is.